I'm David Charvet with Charvet Classic Cars. We're here in the showroom today with a 1931 Packard Model 833 Standard 8 7-passenger sedan. I'll tell you a little bit more about it after you take a closer look. During the 1920s, Packard was the top-selling luxury car in the world. They outsold every other manufacturer. And by the time of the stock market crash in 1929, though, things really changed. Their total production for 1929 was 47,855 cars. But by 1930, after the crash, that number dropped to 28,386. Packard's stock actually before the crash was well over $100 a share. After the crash, it dropped as low as 50 cents a share. And by 1931, when this car was built, total production at Packard was about 12,900 cars. So it really was a fast fall. And it happened to all the other manufacturers of luxury cars as well. Packard managed to hold on, and the cars that were their bread and butter in 1931 were these cars. This is the 833, the 8th series as they called it. They were made from late 1930 through 1931. The 833s are the standard 8. It has a 320 cubic inch engine, creates 100 horsepower, which is pretty impressive in those days considering a Model A Ford was 40 horsepower. It goes right down the road. The car itself was sold by Earl C. Anthony, who I've talked about before, who was the single largest stockholder in Packard in Los Angeles, and he was also on the board of Packard Motor Car Company. He was a distributor for all of California and most of the West Coast as well. This car has a little bit of a puzzle with the data plate that's on it, in that it says it was sold from Earl C. Anthony on March 20th of 1930. Well, actually, I believe it's misstamped. It should be 1931. The frame number and the number the car is titled to is the frame number, is 323840, meaning it was the 3,840th car made by Packard during the 8th series. So it would make it an early car of the 12,000 plus that they produced. So March 20th of 1931 really would fit this car as to when it was sold. I don't know much of the early history of this car. It being a 7-passenger sedan, it was likely owned by an industrialist or someone higher up in the Hollywood strata, you might say. Possibly a studio used it as transport. I'm not sure, but it was a car that was made to carry people and move them quietly, efficiently, and in luxury. I don't know, other than the history of the car between then and 2006, when it received a full restoration here in the Northwest. And the paint was done, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It has a little bit of age, but nothing you can really tell. It's a deep shine. The panels are straight. It's really a beautiful finish on the car. All of the chrome was redone at that time as well, and it shows like new. Glass is all good in the car. The interior upholstery is absolutely gorgeous. It was in gray wool, and the stitching is correct, the tufting is correct, the buttons, everything about it is absolutely gorgeous. And of course it does have the 2 jump seats in the back, so there's plenty of room, even with the jump seats open, for 4 or 5 people to sit in the back. It's really quite nice. The engine was rebuilt by a great friend of mine named Jim Klassen, and he was without doubt one of the great Packard engine rebuilders in the Northwest and really throughout the country. Jim did many Packard engines for me over the years, and he passed away in, I believe, 2010 now, and so this was done in 2006, so it's one of the later engines that he did. But he was an exceptional machinist. He had worked around engines all of his life, and he specialized in Packards, so it really was a great rebuild. The car was purchased in 2010 by a good friend of mine here in the Northwest, longtime Classic Car Club member and Packard Club member, and he went through the car and bought it with the sole intent of touring and using it for events and tours with the Classic Car Club and the Packard Club, and it has performed marvelously. The one thing that he improved on the car, which is a good thing, is the electrical system. These cars were pretty rudimentary electrically in those days, and that was fine, but today in modern traffic and everything else, you need to be seen, so all of the lights have been changed to LED lighting. It's still 6 volt, but they are extremely bright, and at night you can be seen and you can see where you're going. Also, under the dash, he fitted a full electrical monitoring system, which is great. There is a monitor which shows you the current voltage of the car as you're going down the road and as you start it, and that keeps you aware of everything that's going on. Also, there is a readout which shows you when the turn signals are in use, and this car does have turn signals wired through these fender lights. And so you have turn signals, also has a 6 to 12 volt power inverter from 6 volt negative, or pardon me, 6 volt positive, which is what this car is, to 12 volt negative. And so you can run a cell phone charger, a GPS, pretty much anything that you would run in a modern 12 volt car through the cigarette lighter. That's also under the dash. The power kill switch is under the dash as well, a push pull. You can shut off the entire power to the car quite easily without having to get under the hood or crawl under the car. Also, it has an electric fuel pump which was added, and that's controlled under the dash as well, and a voltage regulator for the generator, which is quite a good thing, because if you are traveling down the road, you don't want to overcharge the battery. If you're going on a tour and you're just driving flat out down the road, this allows you to adjust the voltage coming into the battery, so you won't overcharge your battery, and it keeps it right where it should be. And again, that's completely adjustable. So these are all good things which were added, and it really makes a difference if you're touring. And he, in fact, has toured this car thousands of miles. It's used again from 2010 up till today. It's been on many Pacific Northwest region, Oregon region car tours for the Classic Car Club, and it has always performed beautifully. So it's dialed in and ready to go down the road. So if you're really looking for a tour car, this is a really good example, and probably one of the best ones I think you'll find. Tires are all good, the brakes are good, everything works as it should, and about the only thing that's not reading is the fuel gauge on the dash. And again, that's typical of those types of gauges. Over the years, they read like a thermometer, and the fluid that's in it sometimes will fade out. So other than that, though, everything in the car works really well. So I think it's time we take it out for a drive.
It's a beautiful day for a drive. Car starts easily. Press the clutch, turn the key. There we are. It's really smooth, really quiet, and just does everything you'd hope it would do. Of course, these are straight cut gears. You pause, give it a shift, and you're all good. As I mentioned, this car has been on many Classic Car Club tours here in the Northwest, 1,000-mile tours in some cases, and it's always run extremely well. This car is geared at about 469 on the rear end, so it's really comfortable at about 50 to 55. So if you have any questions about this Packard or any of the other cars we represent, feel free to give me a call at 503-309-7729 or find us online at charvetclassiccars.com. I'm David Charvet. Thanks for watching.